So after being in fitness for coming up 12 years, this is what I would tell my younger, skinnier self. And for those that are seeing my content for the very first time, my name is Colin Feck, and I'm the owner of Strong for Life Coaching. I've been in the fitness industry now, once again, I just said it and I'll say it one more time, for coming up 12 years. So, I'm going to be 27 this Sunday that I am, which is so fucking weird to think about. And, so then if we do the basic math, I started when I was 15 that I did, right? Just like most people, my start in fitness was not the prettiest that I would say. So after all of this experience and everything else, this is what I would tell 15-year-old me that I would. Is number one, be patient, okay? Fitness, it definitely is a long game versus a short-term game. And when I was first starting out, I was playing short-term. So, when I first started training, I was starting in my basement that I was. I was doing P90X, I was doing Insanity, so I was doing like the quick 30-day, yet 90-day programs that I was. And then once I was done and once I got into shape, then I would just say, all right, fuck all, be all. And then I would just go back to all of my old habits, right? But Alex Hormozi said it best, the goal isn't to get into shape. It's all about getting into shape and staying in shape, right? So then that's one of those things where I had to tell myself of obviously what I'm doing is not working and I need to change something, right? So I need to play long ball here. So, it's one of those things of treating fitness as a marathon versus a sprint, right? And that's how I've been able to do this for now coming up 12 years. And to be honest, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon because it's one of those things is you put in all of this time and effort in as far as, becoming the best version of yourself, right? So it's one of those things, it's why do you want to end up throwing in the towel after you invest not only your time, but also your money when it comes to gym memberships, gym equipment, supplements, food, everything else, right? So it's one of those things, it's you put all of this work in and then it's why do you just want to end up throwing it all away then, right? The second thing that I would tell them is work on your form. So it's one of those things, and a lot of people talk about it, is form over weight. I was so egotistical that I was, because keep in mind, when I joined a gym that I did, when I finally grew the balls and actually joined a gym, I only weighed, 125 pounds, right? So then, when you walk in and you see all these big jack motherfuckers in there, it's you don't want to be the weakest link, right? So I was more worried as far as acting like the toughest motherfucker in there that was, but it's kind of hard to do, when you weigh 125 pounds, right? It's pretty hard to do, so to speak. So it's one of those things where it's after a little bit and throwing my ego to the side, I had to actually buckle down and actually focus on the form first that I did, because then I knew then once I focus on form, then the weight is going to come over time. But when I was focusing on the weight on its own from the very beginning, well, that was one, leading to me looking really stupid in the gym, and two, injuries and little bullshit that would come up, right? So issues with the shoulder, issues with the knees, and things of that given manner too, as far as that goes, right? So that's one of those things where, for those that are starting out, or who knows, maybe might be 1 to 2 years in, so to speak, right? That's one thing that you need to focus on, is focusing on the form. And there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of information out there, but obviously, use your critical thinking skills. Unfortunately, there's some information out there, that isn't the best. And then there's some information that's out there, that is really good. So use your critical thinking skills and actually see of is what this person talking about actually making sense, right? And then the third and final thing that I would end up telling him is, so this is me of wanting to bulk up, so in my first year I put on, it was 50 to 55 pounds that it was. Eat. Okay, so this is for those that say of oh, it's hard for me to put on weight, I have a fast metabolism and all of this bullshit, right? It's all about picking up the fork and actually eating until you literally feel that you're coming close to throwing up. And that's what I did for 1 year straight, is I would literally eat so much food until I would go to bed that I would, and literally on when I was trying to sleep, I would feel so bloated, and even waking up, it's okay, I still feel full, but I still have to eat. And that's one of those things of there's no magic pill when it comes to gaining weight. So all the mass gainers and all this other stuff that people probably tell you that is out on the internet, mass gainers isn't the end all be all secret that is, okay? So yes, mass gainers, they have 1,000, 1,200 calories that they do, give or take, right? But if you're still eating under a surplus, even with a mass gainer, then the mass gainer is not going to help. All it is just you spending money to just not have it be utilized as a good source. So I never use a mass gainer, that I never have, right? My first year of lifting, I did see all of the mass gainers, but I was it was making sense to me of okay, if I'm actually going to want to put on weight, I want to do it correctly actually, and I actually want to put good sources into my body. So I actually made my own mass gainer, and it was oatmeal, peanut butter, banana, 2 scoops of protein powder, and it was like 1 or 2 bananas. It just all depended that it did as far as that goes. And I would slam the shit out of that before I went to bed as far as that goes. And that is on, at least me personally, that's what helped me put on weight. But that isn't like the secret, you know, throughout the day, I was still eating like a madman. Like I was eating like it was my job. That's the biggest thing as far as for those that are wanting to put on weight, you have to eat. There's no working your way around it. You know, so for those that say like, oh, I have a fast metabolism and it's hard for me to put on weight, blah, blah, blah. It's because you're not eating enough and you need to eat more. Now, does it take time to build up your eating? Yes, but the sooner that you do it, the better off that you'll be. So hopefully that you found this video helpful. If you are experienced in the fitness space as far as that goes, leave a comment below as far as what you would tell your younger self. I would love to pick your brain and see on what you would say, and who knows, you know, maybe we might be thinking the same thing as far as that goes. And it would just be good to connect with those that are on YouTube too as well. So hopefully that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.